Here's Chandler doing the back squat. The joints that are changing angles are the hips and knees. On the lowering phase, the joints go through flexion, and on the lifting, they go through extension. The primary muscle movers are the gluteus maximus and hamstrings, and the quadriceps. On the eccentric phase, you are inhaling, and on the concentric phase, you are exhaling. This is a box squat. The hips and knees are the two joints that are changing angles, and on the lowering phase, they are going through flexion, and on the lifting, they are going through extension. The primary muscle movers are the gluteus maximus and the hamstrings, and the quadriceps. On the eccentric phase, you are inhaling, and on the concentric phase, you are exhaling. Here's Chandler doing the bent over rows. The three joints that are changing angles are the shoulder girdle, shoulder joint, and elbow joint. On the lifting phase, the shoulder girdle goes through retraction, the shoulder joint through extension, and the elbow joint flexion. On the lowering phase, the shoulder girdle is going through protraction, shoulder joint is flexion, and elbow joint is extension. The primary muscle movers are the rhomboids and mid-trapezius, the latissimus dorsi, and the biceps brachii. On the lifting phase, it is the concentric phase where you exhale, and on the lowering phase, it's the eccentric where you inhale. Here's Chandler doing a pull-up. The three joints that are changing angle are the shoulder girdle, shoulder joint, and elbow joint. On the lifting phase, the shoulder girdle goes through retraction, depression, the shoulder joint goes through adduction, and the elbow joint goes through flexion. On the lowering phase, the girdle goes through protraction, elevation, shoulder joint goes through abduction, and the elbow joint goes through extension. The primary muscle movers are the rhomboids, latissimus dorsi, and the triceps brachii. On the concentric phase, you're exhaling, and on the eccentric phase, you're inhaling. Here's Chandler doing dumbbell bench press. The three joints that are changing angle are the shoulder joint, shoulder girdle, and elbow joint. On the lowering phase, the shoulder joint is going through horizontal abduction, the girdle through retraction, and the elbow joint through flexion. On the lifting phase, the shoulder joint is going through horizontal adduction, and the girdle through protraction, and the elbow joint through extension. The primary muscle movers are the pectoralis major, serratus anterior, and the triceps brachii. On the eccentric phase, you are inhaling, and on the concentric phase, you are exhaling.
This is Patrick doing a front squat. The joints that are changing angle are your hips and knees. On the lowering phase, it is flexion, and on the lifting phase, it is extension. The primary muscle movers are your gluteus maximus, hamstrings, and quadriceps. On the eccentric phase, you're inhaling, and on the concentric phase, you're exhaling. This is Patrick doing the barbell bench press. The three joints that are changing angle are your shoulder joint, your shoulder girdle, and your elbow joint. On the lowering phase, your shoulder joint is going through horizontal abduction, your shoulder girdle is going through retraction, and your elbow joint is going through flexion. During the lifting, your shoulder joint is performing horizontal adduction, your shoulder girdle is going through protraction, and your elbow joint is performing extension. The primary muscle movers are your pectoralis major, your serratus anterior, and your triceps brachii. During the eccentric phase, you're inhaling, and during the concentric phase, you're exhaling. This is Patrick performing the deadlift. The two joints that are changing angles are your hip joints and knee joints. During the lifting phase, your hip joint and knee joints are going through extension. The lowering phase, they're going through flexion. The two primary muscle movers are your gluteus maximus and your quadriceps. And during concentric, you're exhaling, and during the eccentric phase, you're inhaling. This is Patrick performing a chin-up and a supinated grip. The three joints that are changing angle are the shoulder girdle, shoulder joint, and elbow joint. During the lifting phase, the shoulder girdle is going through retraction and depression. The shoulder joint is going through adduction, and the elbow joint is going through flexion. The primary muscle movers are the rhomboids and mid-lower trapezius during the lifting, and latissimus dorsi and triceps brachii. For the lowering, it is rhomboids and mid-lower trapezius, latissimus dorsi, and triceps brachii also. During the concentric phase, he is exhaling, and during the eccentric phase, he is inhaling. This is Patrick performing the bent over one arm row. The three joints that are changing angle are the shoulder girdle, shoulder joint, and elbow joint. During the lifting phase, the shoulder girdle is doing retraction, the shoulder joint is doing extension and hyperextension, and the elbow joint is performing flexion. The primary muscle movers during the lifting phase and the lowering phase are the rhomboids, mid-trapezius, latissimus dorsi, and biceps brachii. During the concentric phase, he is exhaling, and during the eccentric phase, he is inhaling.